It's Jacqueline. This is going to be a quick rambling on video. I haven't done a main video in a while. I've been too busy playing Diablo 4, and I hope y'all are enjoying that. Hundreds of hours. And anyway, so I want to talk about feminism, gender identity, sexuality, and how three of these things, feminism, gender identity, sexuality, has all been completely confused within our society, and also gender expression. I think that's all very important. So I wanted to talk about, okay, so when it comes to, let's go straight into gender identity. When it comes to trans women and how they're perceived from society, it doesn't matter if you shave your head. It doesn't matter if you present masculine or if you dress in men's clothes. It doesn't matter what it is, because when women do that, they're still women. So that is a form of gender expression. So like when a lesbian wears men's clothing, that doesn't make her a man, it just makes her fashion expression masculine. And that's something that I've been messing with as far as my fashion expression and gender expression has been going for the past year or so, very aggressively the past like couple of months. Itching to shave my whole head, itching. And I'll get into that later about how when it gets into our society and the way you're perceived in our society. So let's also discuss TERFs, which is such an exhausting subject, and the fact that these people do everything they can to take trans people out of context. So TERFs, a lot of them are older, and they're bleeding into the younger groups, but the majority of them are, 50 and above. A lot of these people were into feminism or into, taking off their bras and burning them and having their boobs hang out at protests and so on and so forth. But let's not let a trans woman do it, because then we'll be seen as bad, because they're men with boobs. Anyway, see the hypocrisy. So let's talk about feminism. So a lot of these TERFs, they are feminists, a lot of them, but they hate men so much that they have to believe that trans women are just men that are using sexist stereotypes, which is not necessarily true, because a lot of trans women dress as men. They wear men's clothing. A lot of them are lesbians. A lot of them are butch, so it doesn't make them men, and it doesn't make them sexist stereotypes if they're a trans woman and they dress like a man. That's not a sexist stereotype. That's just called freedom of expression and gender expression through fashion. So these TERFs, they believe that, like, for example, since I have long hair and since I have, a lot of, well, not me, for example, because I'm definitely not really into the sexist stereotypes, but a lot of trans women that have a lot of makeup on, or they wear long false eyelashes, or if they have these huge dramatic wigs, and they believe those are sexist stereotypes. But for me, I'm like, it's really just fashion. At the end of the day, it's really just fashion, and they're expressing themselves fashionably through extreme femininity. A lot of trans women don't do that. I, for one, wear mostly now men's clothing, but it doesn't make people see me as a man. I mean, a lot of TERFs, and they're psychotic about my page for some reason. I even have some that come during my live stream when I'm gaming, and there's one in particular that's made, 10 accounts? Every time they come to my channel, they start talking about how they want to rip my wig off, which it isn't a wig, but they want to rip it off. They believe I should be confined to my house, because if I leave the house, if any child just views me from a distance, I am now grooming them. Obviously, they don't know what grooming means. So, because grooming is when someone is older and they're trying to have sex with someone who's younger, but they're not actually going to do it. They're getting them ready for when they turn 18 years old and it's legal in their state to have sex with them. That is what grooming is. They've taken this whole thing way out of context, and they see it as though we're grooming them to transition. But the big scary thing that a lot of these people believe is that we're grooming them to transition so that our doctors and psychologists and therapists and all the people working in gender therapy are making a fortune. Okay, they're making money, so they believe that we're grooming them to be like us so that our healthcare providers can make money. That's literally, like, at the end of the day, that's their whole argument. When you sit down and talk to these people that are anti-trans, they believe, one dude the other day told me that transitioning costs $1.5 million. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, these people are deranged, and a large part of our society believes it because they have to believe that there's a motivation in there, and it's always money or corruption. So they believe that people are transitioning to make doctors rich and make it's bizarre, or they're transitioning because they want to sneak into the women's bathrooms and have a look at their vaginas or something, or be a threat to women and all of that. But then they come onto videos like mine and they make fun of, say, like my chin or my masculinity or like how buff I am, or say if my hair looks like thin around the hairline, they're like, oh, he's going bald. They'll say stuff like that. But when a woman goes bald post menopause and they don't have any estrogen left or anything, do they look at them and go, oh, he's going bald? They don't. So they try to make trans women insecure. So they try to get a rise out of them. And on me personally, it doesn't work anymore. They try, man, they try. They try everything they can to get under my skin, but it doesn't work. And I don't really give a shit. So this is where we have society and capitalism. And me not giving a shit, and young people, young trans people, not giving a shit about society and the way they perceive them, as is seen by some trans people, usually conservative, and TERFs and conservatives, as a threat to them somehow. Because a lot of conservative trans women, they don't understand why you have these trans women who say they're at a march protesting for their rights and they have their breasts hanging out. They see them as a threat because it's something for conservatives to work with, to use in a negative light. And I'm like, there's nothing you could do to actually appease conservative, especially in politics and all that, and conservative stupid people. You can never make them approve of you. There's nothing that you can do to make them approve of you as a woman or as a respectable person of society. There's no amount of surgery, there's no amount of looking hot or sexy that can get society's approval of you. You can have allies sometimes, I usually think allies are in it for themselves, but they just want to feel good about themselves. But at the end of the day, society is never going to see you as a woman. They see you as they've got to see you as a threat, which is not true. They've got to see you as some kind of problem. And all this boils down to is that most people hate themselves. And trans people, especially the young ones that are out there living their lives, doing whatever it is that they want to do, they don't give a fuck. They understand what gender expression is. They understand what sexuality is, which is different. They understand what being trans is and gender dysphoria as being different. They understand all of those separate things. Older trans people don't see that most of the time. There's a lot of people who have changed, but a lot of them don't see that. They see man, woman. They see if you don't play to society's rules, then you're a problem. If you stick out like a sore thumb and you stand up for your rights, you're going to cause problems for the rest of us. And that is just not true, because you're going to have those problems regardless. It has never been easy for trans people. I couldn't even get a job anywhere, including liberal or progressive places, or even working for gay people back in the day. But now in my life, I could probably walk into any place in society, in especially major cities where it's progressive, and they'd probably hire me because I'm trans. And for example, like, I would love to shave my head. I've been talking about this for a while now. It's coming. It's coming. It's gonna happen. But if I shave my head, the way society views me and my life, the way people view me, because it's, again, the self-reflection. So if I shaved my head, society would look at me and then they would look at themselves. All people are playing this capitalist game of being, fitting in, not standing out, not being yourself. You're just playing the game. You get the house, you get the car, you get the marriage, you get the children, and then I guess at the end of all that, you're going to be happy, So when people rebel against that, it makes people question themselves. So if I shave my head, it would make everyone... So what does my hair say about me? That's what I ask people in the hair salon. What does your hair say about you when they sit down? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, it says, in my case, it says I'm a basic ass bitch that's been playing the rules for way too long, and I've lost myself in society's stereotypical expectations of what a woman is. And I personally am done playing that game. I've been done playing that game for a while now. But when trans people stop playing that game, the trans women who are playing that gender stereotypical game dislike when they see others doing it. So, and it doesn't, when it comes to like the men who sleep with trans women, so we can switch to like sexuality. So when men are, they're all freaking conservative. Like I have friends that are in the sex industry and they're like, do you think any of my clients that I see all the time are liberal? They're not. They're conservative men married to TERFs who hate trans people. And these men that are sleeping with them are also voting against, our civil rights. Just to exist and just to be. I mean, I'm constantly harassed by TERFs. They go out of their way to harass me. And the big question is, there's only been one drag queen in history, transgender drag queen, that has been a pedophile. That's been charged with as being a pedophile that we know of. Only one. But somehow this is blown way out of proportion. Now we've got laws against people transitioning. We've got laws against gender affirming care for children, which does not mean medical. It also means just therapy. It means presenting. It can mean many different things. But people see it as though we're chopping little girls' breasts off and we're chopping off little boys', testicles. And anyway, this is the fear that comes with weak-minded people. They have to see a fear in something. They have to see danger, 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 danger. And there's no danger there to begin with. The reason why is because if they sat down and looked at themselves long enough, they would realize that they've been playing the societal game just like trans women have. It just so happens that the younger generations are no longer playing it. They're not interested in this bullshit anymore. They're done. I mean, I personally know a pedophile that is a cisgendered woman that was 27 years old that emotionally manipulated a 14-year-old boy, and she was his teacher, manipulated him and royally screwed him up in the head for life, manipulated him to sleep with him. I know who this person is, and that is a cisgendered woman. And it's not about, see, the thing is, like, TERFs believe that trans women are like men who have penises that are aggressively going to attack cisgendered women in the bathrooms. That's what they believe. They have to have that fear that wells up inside them. But the truth is, most trans women, especially the ones on hormone therapy, things don't necessarily work the same way. The testosterone's not there, so that drive isn't there anymore. And they're literally just going to the bathroom to pee and then they leave. There's majority of trans women. So shouldn't they be advocating for more transitional care to actually get trans women the medical needs that they have, because it would mean that they're less of a threat to them? Wouldn't that be something that they actually push for in our society? So what they're trying to do is they're actually taking away our medical care. They're creating this fear so that trans women can't transition, which would, in their view, create more of a threat to them, because now they're actually filled with testosterone. They don't have issues with, say their genitalia functioning. So wouldn't they actually be wanting trans women to transition? It really is a self-reflection thing. These anti-trans people kind of hate themselves. And if you sit down and you watch them for long enough, you can really see that they actually hate themselves. All of them. Blair White. When I sit down and watch Blair, I see someone who is so desperately trying to be approved of by society. And all of her viewers see her as a man. All the people that like her see her as a man. And even someone commented on one of my posts the other day saying that a few weeks ago, she claimed that trans women aren't women. They're just a different type of man. And I'm like, so essentially, like, Blair White is just a cross-dresser that happens to look like a doll. And so men jerking off to her that are conservative evidently think that that's okay because she looks like a woman. I just don't understand, like, her end goal of what she's trying to do, other than harming herself. Because in the end, she probably won't be able to get her hormone therapy. She probably won't be able to get her lip injections anymore. She won't be able, if she got her way and the people that she's friends with in her circles got their way, she wouldn't be able to live the lifestyle that she lives, because they're going to take it away from her. I just don't understand how stupid they are. So then I see trans women who do get all the surgery done that are also conservative and promote people like, Dylan Mulvaney, saying, look at what these people are doing. We should, gatekeep them, and we should be stopping them from being able to do what they're going to do. But then they go and get every surgery that you can possibly imagine. I mean, we're talking everything. And right before they go in, they talk like they are the beacon of knowledge about how good this doctor is and how great the surgery is going to be and how amazing this clinic is. And then the moment they come out of that place, they hate their noses, they hate their breasts, they hate their vaginas, they don't like any of the stuff, so then they go to another doctor. And then what's so bizarre to me is they'll talk about that doctor like they're amazing, they're incredible, and then they go in and get surgery and they hate it again. And I'm like, don't you see? Like, you're doing, so yes, you can have gender dysphoria about your body parts, and you can go and you can get surgery done, and you can get these things done to help with your gender dysphoria and to create happiness. But don't hate on trans women that don't pass. Don't hate on trans women that don't want those surgeries, because you're not happy either, even with the fucking surgeries. So, like, what are we doing here? So that's why society is responding negatively to younger people not conforming to their rules. And isn't that kind of what feminism was, especially when it first began, was women being sick of being in the kitchen, stuck in like appeasing men and doing what they tell them to do? Isn't this about equality at the end of the day? And that's kind of what trans women want. They just want equality to live their lives. I mean, gender dysphoria is a medical condition that is proven by scientists, doctors, therapists. And when it's alleviated, especially in trans youth, suicide rates plummet, and when it's alleviated in life, trans women usually move on with their lives happily. It just so happens that these people have to believe that we're mentally deranged, that we're a threat to their children, and that we're a threat to them. And none of that is even a thing. It's because they've realized that they've been conforming to society all these years, and they hate themselves. Because in our society, we are playing this capitalistic game of, if we check all these boxes and then we make a lot of money and we get approved of, then we'll be happy. And let me tell you, I've never met a happy rich person. And then people think, oh, well, if I become rich, if I play this game long enough, check all the boxes, I'm hot, I'm sexy, I'm thin, I've got long, beautiful hair, I do everything just right, then suddenly society will approve of me. Then I'll be able to go further in life. And then if I make, $1 billion or something, then I'll be different than other billionaires. And I'm like, dude, y'all wouldn't be happy either, because money doesn't make you fucking happy. We just want basic health care. We want to alleviate our medical problems, and society is actively pushing back because they hate themselves. It's quite simple. I mean, trans women fall perfectly under feminism. We are exactly, especially the rebellious ones. I just hate the trans women that are like 35 and above who don't see everything I just talked about. They don't see any of that. They see they're creating problems. But the ones that I talk to that are like that, I'm like, you're in the sex industry. You barely make it. You're stuck in that world because, 20 years ago, you could never make it because you don't pass. Or you couldn't make it because society wouldn't accept you. So, and then trans women who've been playing that game, who've tried to be stereotypically beautiful and fit right in and blend in, go stealth, whatever it is, they start to realize that it never actually works either, because people are fucking assholes. Now they're going to take away your health care. Now they're going to take away your hormones because they believe that we're mentally deranged men, thanks to people like Blair White and, older feminist TERFs. They're trying to take away women's rights, essentially. That's why I feel like the young generation, where they're rebelling against the gender stereotypes, they're rebelling against society and all their capitalistic ways of, making, having to be some specific way to be approved of. They're eliminating that. And I find that quite awesome. I just really wish the older trans people would understand this. But a lot of them are trying to appease conservative politicians. They're trying to appease, people in power. And I'm like, fuck these people. They're assholes. They don't approve of you anyway. They don't see you as a woman, and they never will see you as a woman. So give them the middle finger and stop allowing them to take away our health care because they've created imaginary fear. Because if my state, and I live in a conservative state, if they got rid of my healthcare, I'm gonna have to move. And then if it becomes like a federal thing down the road, I'm gonna have to check out the country. I mean, I have a British passport, but look, we're in a country where we're supposed to have fucking freedoms, and these same people believe in freedom to live, freedom to exist, except for these people. I really, yeah. And then you have trans people who are supporting these assholes, who support people like Blair White, who support people like these fucking TERFs, like J.K. Rowling and shit. I mean, it just is incredibly mind-blowing at the ignorance and the lack of self-reflection. I mean, it doesn't bother me personally. TERFs and these people make fun of me and the way I look, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, obviously they hate themselves. Why else would they make 20 profiles to harass me on my profile? I mean, Who has that kind of fucking energy? Someone who obviously hates themselves so much, who doesn't believe in themselves, and they need to hate other people. Anyway, that's a long rant, a long video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all next time.